my true crime besties. Today I have a story that's going to take place in Springfield, Missouri in June of 1992. It's graduation time at the Kickapoo High School. Everybody's excited, graduating, been waiting for this moment, as you can imagine. Among the graduation class, there were two best friends, Stacy McCall and Susie Schrader. Okay, so Stacy was 18. It was said she was a fun person, great sense of humor. She hung out with a lot of class clowns. She loved to joke around and have fun. And after high school, she was ready to attend Missouri State University. Susie was 19, also similar to Stacy. She's outspoken, outgoing, and seemed like a genuinely nice person. She used to hang out with the popular crowd, even dated one of the bad boys. But Susie herself stayed out of trouble. So we love that for her, right? Parties were happening that night, a lot of graduation parties. So a lot of them were going to head to Branson, Missouri and stay in a hotel and party. And then everybody was going to meet up at a local water park called Whitewater. So the party at the hotel with their friends and then Whitewater. So Stacey and Susie were going to do this. They would drive out to the hotel and join everyone at the water park. But at last minute, they decided to change their minds. They decided to head to another friend's house. Her name was Janelle Kirby. Stacey called her mom at like 10:30 p.m. to let her know that the plans have changed, but that they were still going to the water park. Her mom was like, okay, cool, great, have fun. See you in the morning before you head to the water park. So Stacy and Susie head to Janelle's house where her neighbor was having like a graduation party of some sort. It was said to be really crowded, but a lot of fun. So they stayed up till like 2 a.m. and then Stacy and Susie were like, whoa, we better get to bed. We got to get up early and go to the water park. So, and plus Janelle's house was way too crowded. They couldn't stay there. So there was just no room for Susie and Stacy to crash. So both girls decided to go stay at Susie's house. So the girls head over to 1717 East Delmar Street, where Susie lived with her mom, Cheryl. So we got Stacy, Susie, and Cheryl. Cheryl and her daughter, Susie, had recently moved into the home. I guess Susie's parents divorced, and the two moved into this house together. The mom was 40 years old, and was just, really close with her daughter. Both of them drive over to Susie's house. They take off their makeup, take off their clothes, and get in bed. Okay, well, the next morning, Janelle is calling Susie, and no one is picking up their phone, so it just keeps going to voicemail. So Janelle's like, okay, that's weird. Susie and Stacy were supposed to pick up Janelle that morning and head over to the water park. So Janelle ends up calling again, no answer. So then her and her boyfriend Mike jump in the car and head over to Susie's house. It's around 9 a.m. when they get there, and they pull in and notice all three women's cars were still sitting in the driveway. And it's 1992, so nobody has cell phones, right? So people just come over to your house. That's like how it was. Well, when they walk up to their porch, they notice that there's glass on the floor, which the light on the porch was broken, just the out part though. The bulb was still there, but the light around it was shattered and everything. So it said that Mike, cleaned up the glass because Janelle was barefoot. So they go in, they see, the house is clean, it looks good, no sign of a struggle, but they're all three gone. But their purses and everything's still there, so they're like, okay, well, maybe we missed them. And then the phone starts ringing. So Janelle's like, So she goes and answers it, and there's this weird man on the other side of the phone making like sexual innuendos, like just saying weird stuff. And so she's like, what? That's weird. And she hangs up. And he calls again, and the second time Janelle is kind of hesitant to answer, but she does, and same thing. So really creepy, right? So she hangs up the phone, and her and Mike leave. That moment that the phone was ringing and it was that creepy guy, Janelle remembered that Susie was getting a lot of weird prank calls. So Janelle figured maybe it was the prank caller. So they leave and head to the water park, just hoping maybe they'll see them. This time, Jeanette McCall, Stacy's mom, was feeling really uneasy because it was unlike her daughter not to call and check in. So Stacy's mother calls Janelle's house because, remember, the plan changed. And Janelle tells her, oh, well, they ended up staying at Susie's house. And so she's like, all right, maybe she's just busy, blah, blah, blah. I'll talk to her later. So 7 hours goes by. So she decided to call Susie's house, and the phone just ring, 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 no one's answering. So she decides to go over there and finds the doors unlocked. So she goes in there, and again, everything looks nice. Purses are still there. They took off their makeup. Their clothes are folded on the dresser. Like, really weird. But weird, she cleans up the house, which is weird. So again, and they called police. So while they're waiting for police to come over, she's cleaning up the house, hello, it's a crime scene, don't touch it. But her mom goes over to the machine and sees it flashing that, okay, there's a message. And some old machines, if you listen to it, automatically deletes. Well, that's how this machine was. So Stacy's mom listens to the message, and it, again, is that creepy guy saying sexual things, and the message was deleted. So police tried to get that back and they couldn't trace the call or anything. So there were so many people that were in and out of that house that, the crime scene has been contaminated. So they didn't really know what to do. Also, in one of the purses, there was $900. So clearly there wasn't a robbery, anything like that. So we just don't know what happened. Into the girls' past, the police do, and they see that Susie dated a guy named Dustin for a bit, but he was recently arrested for grave robbing a grave. Super weird. But he got caught, and rumors said, and not rumored, actually she wrote a statement telling on him basically, and they were set to go to trial for this in a few months. So but they took Dustin in and gave him a lie detector test, and he ends up passing it. So, and again, there's nothing to connect him to the murder or disappearance. Look at Susie's older brother, Bart, which is said to be the black sheep of the family. And in 1992, Bart was kicked out of the home, so he struggled with alcohol and stuff like that. But he moved back to Springville, and he cleaned up, and it was said that Susie did go stay with him for a little bit to kind of get, reconnected with him. But I guess he got super drunk one night and was really aggressive to her, so then she moved out, and that was the end of their relationship. But again, he passed his lie detector test as well. Another tip came in that an older lady that lived in the neighborhood, she would sit on the porch lot and observe, and she would know what cars come and go. And after the woman's disappearance, she noticed a strange green van driving around. But what was even more strange was a young woman with blonde hair driving. She seemed to be stressed out and worried, and then she hears a man's voice that says, quote, don't do anything stupid, end quote. Something along those lines. So the police ask her, what took you so long to report this? And she's just oh, I don't know. And he shows her the photos of the three women. And she said the person driving definitely looked like Stacy. But again, so police buy a van just like that. They pull over all the vans. People drove like that. They even bought a van like that, parked it outside the police station, and said, if you remember seeing this van, please call with any information and let to know. This case is still open till this day. They're called the Springfield 3. The show aired on New Year's Eve and on America's Most Wanted. And a man called in claiming he had info about the case, but when the operator went to transfer him over to the Springville detectives, the call was dropped and he never called back, and the call was never traced. A man named Stephen Garrison comes in the picture and says that he knows what happened, but he wants a plea deal before he talks. And he takes him over to this farm where another murder case happened, and they ended up finding something, but the police found him to be credible and put a gag order on him and the police, so no one is allowed to speak about. So we have no idea what they found there or whatnot, and it's just a crazy story, and I feel really bad. It's like those three women just vanished, up and left. And like I said, it's still open today, and I like to talk about these cases just to get the victims' names out and their stories heard. So if you guys like it. Subscribe for more.